Some days feel like any other, and then there are days when the future quietly reshapes itself, when ideas begin to take shape, when leaders gather, when a profession stars a new purpose in the heart of a nation. The week between 17th and 22nd of November 2025 was one of those iconic weeks as ICPAK hosted the 42nd Annual Seminar Edition 2. For 42 years, one gathering has stood as more than an event. It is a societal heartbeat, a moment when accountants, policymakers, thinkers, and innovators step beyond numbers and into possibility. This is not just the story of a seminar. This is the story of growth, of courage, of a profession stepping decisively into its moment. What began decades ago as a professional gathering has grown into one of the most influential accounting forums in Africa. Nearly 4,000 delegates, both in person and virtual, gathered in Mombasa. They came from government, private enterprise, academia, civil service, civil society, Kenya, the region, and the global profession. They came not just to earn CPD points, but to exchange ideas, question assumptions, and shape the future. Across Sarova White Sands, Pride in One and Pride in Two, as well as through virtual platforms connecting thousands more, the seminar continued as a single ongoing conversation. Ideas flowed between rooms, screens, and borders, reflecting the interconnected world accountants now serve. Anchored on the theme From Transactions to Transformation, Accountancy Impacting the World, the seminar presented a bold challenge to go beyond compliance, beyond routine reporting, and into leadership that shapes governance, sustainability, and economic resilience. The seminar began with a strong moral message. As the chief guest, Dr. David A. Oginde, PhD, FCS, chairperson of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, emphasized the importance of the accounting profession in Kenya's integrity framework.
Integrity is the foundation of the anti-corruption fight. When integrity is eroded, anti-corruption laws are useless. It doesn't matter how many laws we put in place. Because integrity is a matter of character. It's an individual thing. It's a decision that you make. It's a decision that I make. And the people who facilitate corruption in our country, you have said it yourself. You have said that if accountants were to practice integrity, EACC would be redundant. Not just Oginde. The whole commission would be useless because there will be no need. By that very statement, which has been said by all those who spoke, is that accountants play a significant role in the practice of integrity and accountability in our nation.
He reminded delegates that they are gatekeepers of trust and frontline defenders of integrity.
So, integrity is at the heart of everything that we do as financial professionals. All the legal frameworks that we put in place are to facilitate that work so that we can operate within an environment that is easy for us to account for everything that we do.
Delivering the opening address, CPA Professor Elizabeth Kalunda challenged members to step boldly into leadership and policy spaces.
I call upon each one of you as a member of the profession and friends to the profession to recommit to this higher purpose. Let us be catalysts of transformation, not mere custodians of compliance. In closing, let me return to the phrase of our theme, accountancy impacting the world. Impact is not measured by counting transactions, but by the difference those transactions make to human life. When public resources are used to build schools and clinics, climate finances reach resilient agriculture. Accountants have been pivotal in a recovered procurement process that delivers timely medicines and essentials.
That vision was reinforced by CPA Dr. Grace Kamau, Chief Executive Officer of ICPAK, who reflected on the Institute's growth in scale, relevance, and influence.
This theme is both timely and necessary. It reminds us that our profession has grown beyond simple bookkeeping and compliance. It is now at the heart of shaping policies, sustainability, and economic transformation. Accountants today are not just record keepers, but they are nation builders, catalysts for integrity, and stewards for public trust. A research recently conducted by the International Federation of Accountants affirms that accountants are increasingly leading the global transformation agenda, which includes responsible financial leadership. The report notes that 70% of CFOs now view the professional accountants as key enablers for both digital innovation and sustainability strategy.
From development financing to fiscal sustainability, the seminar addressed Kenya's most urgent economic issues. CPA Ephantas Kimotho, CBS, Principal Secretary, State Department for Irrigation, illustrated how structured PPPs can unlock development.
There are mainly three key ways of procuring PPP. One, through competitive bidding, which is what is preferred by the public. This is whereby you float a PPP out there. But again, the biggest challenge where we've not found one is, again, comes back to the issue of project preparation. For you to float a PPP, you not only need the technical studies, but you also need a detailed financial model, so that now you can be able to have an expression of interest out there. So again, there it still speaks to the same thing about capacity building, and that's why you find more often than not, most of the PPPs which have been there have been the ones which are privately initiated, the PIPs. Privately initiated is what you've seen more. But again, the private initiated proposals are not bad. It's only because, one, they also give the private parties an opportunity to bring innovation. But at the same time, you need to internally have capacity so that you can counter it and make sure it aligns with exactly what you need. Well structured, the private party role and the public party, the two can come together. One, the government gives its own idle land, private party comes with their own private capital and the technology, and together we can unlock the potential of our assets and create an economic transformation.
Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, CBS, Member of Parliament for Kiharu, provided a data-driven analysis of public debt, cautioning about its long-term effects.
In 2003, when President Kibaki took over, the debt in Kenya was 600 billion Kenya shillings. 600 billion Kenya shillings when President Kibaki took over. By the time he left, it was around 1.8 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, President Kibaki borrowed roughly, because there are some decimal points, around 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings for the entire 10 years he was president. And therefore, he was borrowing around 120 billion it's actually 100 billion every year. When President Uhuru Kenyatta took over, the debt was 1.8 trillion. In 2022, the public debt in Kenya was 8.7 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, he borrowed around, we can say 7 trillion. So in every year, he was borrowing roughly 700 billion shillings. There is a reason I'm giving these figures. The current administration, when it took over, the debt was 8.7 trillion Kenya shillings. Now, as we talk with you today, the legal debts, because there are others which I'll talk about, the legal debt is 12.5 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, in that span of less than 3 years, Kenya has borrowed 3.8 trillion Kenya shillings. And therefore, Kenya is borrowing 1.25 trillion Kenya shillings every year. And therefore, the money Kibaki borrowed in 10 years, we are borrowing every year. And therefore, every day, we are borrowing 3.5 billion shillings every day. So this conference will be here for a week. So by the time you go back to Nairobi, you can do the calculations.
The panels on debt, development and multilateralism, featuring CPA Marjan Hussein Marjan, MBS, CEO and Commission Secretary of IEBC, Professor Isaiah I.C. Wakindiki, Vice Chancellor and CEO of KCA University, CPA Agneta Ngusa, Associate Director, HC Global Fund Services, LLC, and Mr. Jubril Adeniji, Managing Director of Guarantee Trust Bank Kenya Limited, among others, explored leadership, trade, and institutional resilience deeply and decisively. The seminar further emphasized that transformation depends on accountability. Advocate Diana Gichengo, Mr. Houghton Irungu, Executive Director of Amnesty International Kenya, and Sheila Masinde, Executive Director of Transparency International Kenya, urged both professionals and citizens to voice their concerns and act honestly. At the legislators' panel, under the sub-theme Challenges and Opportunities for Elected Leaders in Steering the Country to Economic Acceleration, Honorable Njeri Maina and Professor Tom Odhiambo Ojienda, SC, and Honorable Dan Manzo spoke openly about leadership, law, economic growth, and corruption. The panel on accountants in the diaspora, career options for accountants in other jurisdictions, highlighted how Kenyan accountants are shaping the profession beyond their home borders. Across Africa, North America, Europe, and the Caribbean, they are building careers in finance, governance, and advisory roles, bringing international experience, leadership, and innovation back to Kenya. The AML CFT Regional Advisor of the Global Program Against Money Laundering, UNODC Regional Office for Eastern Africa, Atuweni Tupochile, discussed the vital role of accountants in protecting the financial system, emphasizing the key provisions of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, POCAMLA. She also examined how professionals can identify and verify clients, monitor transactions, report suspicious activities, and maintain accurate records, all of which are vital for transparency, accountability, and safeguarding the integrity of the economy.
The Financial Action Task Force is a body that was formed by the G7 group of government plus the European Commission. They came up together to say, how do we put these conventions into practical terms so that countries can know how to implement them. And we use this to protect the international financial sector. And so what the FATF did was to come up with recommendations. There are 40 recommendations. So basically it breaks it down for you. So they will say, okay, why do we want accountants and lawyers to report? We want them to report because they are gatekeepers. They are the people that criminals will go to and say, I have a bucket full of money. Can you tell me how I can invest these criminal proceeds without getting caught? Can you form for me a shell company? And so on and so forth. So we say accountants, lawyers should report. So, or they should be accountable. How do we hold them accountable? So the recommendations will list exactly what is expected of accountants, exactly what is expected of lawyers, and in what situations. So your country now comes to those recommendations and takes them and makes them into law. Remember, all this is coming from the conventions. It's not coming from thin air. So the conventions to which Kenya is a party to, the Financial Action Task Force is breaking them down for the country. The country is expected to enforce them. Now, the next thing for the FATF is now how do we ensure there is compliance? We do that through what we call mutual evaluations. Now, the FATF is a club for the rich countries, countries that have a certain GDP. In Africa, only South Africa qualifies. But how do they get all of us on board? They get us through regional bodies that are structured like the FATF. For the East and Southern Africa region, it's called the East and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group, ESAMALAG. Kenya belongs to that group, Malawi belongs to that group, South Africa belongs to that group. Now you ask yourself that, but why should the FATF even be worried about the rest of us? It's because your economies are intrinsically linked to their economies.
From the region, CPA Neema Kyure positioned Kenya's profession within a global standards landscape. But beyond policy, panels, and plenary halls, the true metric of any seminar lies in the voices of those who lived it. Across 2 continents and thousands of interactions, delegates shared their reflections not just on what they had, but on what they felt, learned, and will carry forward.
This conference, the 42nd Annual Seminar Edition 2, has been quite successful. I can say that it has been worth attending it. The invitation was good, the welcoming was good, and I witnessed a very friendly environment, especially here at Pride in Paradise. It has been quite amazing. Yeah, the service has been nice. The food, we have been served with nice food, delicious food. And I want to thank ICPAK for the good organization and to urge them to keep it up and do more. Especially when we come, it touches on pertinent issues and we are able to learn more and to know more from the seminar. It has been quite successful and I hope and I look forward that more and more is going to come.
I've come for the 42nd edition seminar and I've learned a lot, especially today in terms of debt management and all that. Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity both from the company and from ICPAK as a whole.
I'm glad to be part of this conference. Actually, we are moving away from transactions to transformation, and I'm glad I took part in this year's annual seminar edition.
I'm so happy to have participated in the 42nd annual seminar. It's been we've enjoyed. I've learned a lot, and I'm encouraging fellow accountants who are not here for this 42nd seminar, at least to make an effort and join the next coming one in the year 2026. Thank you.
My name is Molly Abende. I'm the head of quality assurance at Glacier Products Limited. The brand name is popular. It's called Dairyland. And today was a culminating event for the World's Quality Week that we are celebrating as an organization. But also, and most importantly, our chocolate plant has achieved one of the highest food safety and quality certifications called FSSC 22000, and that's why we are here today. That's the celebration.
My name is Stephen Kasolia. I'm the head of projects manufacturing for Glacier Products Limited, and today we are celebrating the FSSC certification, actually FSSC 22000 version 6 certification of one of our plants, the chocolate plant, the only chocolate manufacturing plant in Kenya, East Africa. And being the Quality Week, being the last day of Quality Week, it's actually a great honor to do that. Yes.
I'm Situl Shah. I'm the Marketing and Innovations Director at Glacier Products, Dairyland Ice Cream and Chocolates. We are here today to celebrate our certification of FFSC 22000 from HACCP certification for the chocolate plant. We are already certified for the FFSC 22000 for the ice cream plant. Very proud and honored to be here with this celebration. It is a big achievement for us.
Hi guys, my name is Sunil Shah. I'm the chairman of the board of directors at Glacier Products Limited, better known as Dairyland. Today we are here to celebrate our chocolate plant achieving the FSCC 22000 version 6, which is the highest certification for food and safety systems.
Beyond elegance, purpose persists. The annual ICPAK Charity Golf Tournament raised funds for the ICPAK Finance and Accounting Scholarship, a commitment to future professionals and to opportunity as the foundation of transformation. Then came a moment of celebration. The ICPAK Gala Dinner was not merely an interlude, it was a crescendo. Dressed in white, the profession united as one community, sharing laughter, reflection, and pride. For a moment, the numbers made way for narrative, and the profession celebrated itself. Together, sponsors, speakers, delegates, we do more than convene. We build capacity, ignite ideas, and fuel action. And as this seminar closes, these voices and partnerships continue with us into the future. As the seminar drew to a close, FCPA Nancy Gadungu, CBS Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya, reaffirmed the accountant's central role in safeguarding public resources and strengthening accountability systems.
A sneak view of some of the topical areas you have tackled indicate that this seminar was choreographed to explore the impediments to transformation and creation of impact. You discussed anti-corruption and integrity, strengthening governance and integrity frameworks and policies in the country, where our profession is expected to lead by example through upholding our code of ethics. You discussed future-fit accountants, the roles that we have for the next decade, where you reflected on how our profession is evolving. In an era of sustainability and digital transformation, our role extends beyond compliance. We are shaping ethical business practices and global economic resilience. You discussed public debt accountability, which is a great concern of mine as the Auditor General, and key concerns and global implications, where we were reminded that as nations grapple with debt, sustainability, accountants must champion transparency and fiscal discipline, ensuring that borrowing fuels development, not dependency. Global challenges demand collective solutions, and we, as professionals, are central to building trust across borders. You discussed the journey to the Kenya we want, where as accountants, we must lead in creating systems that curb corruption, promote equity, and drive inclusive growth. The Kenya we want is one where integrity is not optional, it is a foundation of prosperity. Whistleblowing as a catalyst from silent compliance to transformative accountability was also part of the discussions. The theme of this seminar, therefore, reminds us that accounting is no longer confined to ledgers and balance sheets. It is a force shaping economies, influencing governance, and transforming societies. So every transaction we process, every audit we conduct, every report we submit, these are not mere tasks. These are acts of transformation. They are acts of nation building. And we accountants are architects of trust, stewards of integrity, and catalysts for change. And perhaps I pause and ask, do you believe that in yourself? Or these are just nice words that the Auditor General is saying? Because if you truly do not believe in that, then we have a problem, because our profession is front and center in transforming this country.
This was followed by remarks from Honorable Andrea Arik Malueth, Deputy Secretary General for Infrastructure, Productive, Social and Political Sectors at the East African Community Secretariat, emphasizing the regional significance of strong institutions and professional standards.
Transformation is not an event, but a process, and accountants are at the center of this process. Today, the accountant is no longer just a custodian of transactions. You are architects of trust, interpreters of data, defenders of integrity, and increasingly strategic advisors shaping national and regional prosperity. This mirrors the EAC's own transformation agenda, moving from coordination to deep integration, from isolated national system to harmonized regional standards, from the compliance impact-driven processes to value-driven governance. Your reflections this week capture precisely what our region needs: a profession that leads, not follows; a profession that transforms, not merely reports; a profession that shapes economies, not merely accounts for them. Honorable delegates, allow me to reaffirm the role of East Africa community in this transformation journey. The EAC exists to deepen economic, political, social, and cultural integration, ultimately delivering a prosperous, competitive, and stable region.
In her final reflections, CPA Professor Elizabeth Kalunda captured the spirit of the week, a historic convergence of ideas, courage, and commitment.
Accountants should be in leadership positions. They should take decision-making space, including the political space. For a long time, we've been there commenting, saying things that we should have said when we are inside the house. So accountants, we believe that it is now our time to move from transaction to transformation. And I am happy because when we had our breakfast meeting with the CPA parliamentarians early last week, which was a historic meeting, it marked the beginning of a long-term platform for mentorship, legislative advocacy, and political grooming. And indeed, our CPA parliamentarians actually said they are ready to work with those CPAs who want to take the political space. We, as an institute, want to support our members who feel called to contribute their expertise in the governance space, whether at county assemblies, whether in parliament or other national leadership. And I'm very happy because the Daily Nation of yesterday on page 34 actually captured that. So we are calling upon CPAs, let's take these positions. That is where we will transform the nation.
The 42nd ICPAK Annual Seminar Edition 2 was not an ending. It was a promise, a pledge to continue the journey from transactions to transformation. As we look ahead, we invite you to join us at the 43rd ICPAK Annual Seminar Edition 1, scheduled for May 18th to 22nd, 2026. From all of us at ICPAK, thank you for being part of this journey, and may 2026 be a year of purpose, impact, and transformation. See you at the 43rd ICPAK Annual Seminar Edition 2.